Most people think financial freedom disappears because of one bad decision, a terrible investment, a mountain of credit card debt, maybe even losing a job. Those are the stories that make headlines. They're dramatic, easy to understand, and comforting in a strange way because they convince us that financial disasters only happen after something obvious goes wrong. But real life almost never works like that. For most Americans, money doesn't disappear overnight. It slips away so quietly that by the time they notice, years have already passed. A slightly nicer apartment after a promotion, a newer SUV because the old one still had good trade-in value, ordering takeout a few extra nights each week because work has been exhausting. None of these decisions feel irresponsible on their own. In fact, every one of them feels reasonable. That's exactly what makes them so dangerous. There's an old saying in finance that rarely gets the attention it deserves. Wealth is built in silence, but it's also lost in silence. You don't wake up one morning and decide to sabotage your future. You simply repeat the same small decisions thousands of times until they become your lifestyle. By then, they no longer feel like choices. They feel normal, and once something feels normal, we stop questioning it. A financial planner in Chicago once described it in a way that stayed with me. He said people almost never come into his office because they made one catastrophic mistake. They come in because they're confused. They're earning more than they ever have, yet somehow they still feel stuck. They're doing everything they were told to do, working hard, paying their bills, staying out of trouble, but every month ends the same way. The paycheck arrives, and then it disappears. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Millions of hardworking Americans wake up every morning, put in 40 or 50 hours a week, and still wonder why financial security always seems just out of reach. It's easy to blame inflation, the economy, or rising housing costs. And to be fair, those things absolutely matter. But they aren't the whole story. Because while some people remain trapped in that cycle for decades, others quietly build wealth in the exact same economy. That's the part most people never stop to think about. Two neighbors can work in the same city, earn almost identical salaries, and face the same cost of living. Yet 20 years later, their financial lives look nothing alike. One has investments growing quietly in the background, a retirement account they barely think about, and enough savings to handle life's unexpected surprises. The other is still checking their account before every purchase, hoping nothing unexpected happens before the next paycheck. The difference usually isn't intelligence, it isn't education, and it certainly isn't luck. More often than not, it's the result of habits that seemed too small to matter when they first began. Tiny financial decisions repeated consistently have a way of shaping an entire future. That's both the bad news and the good news. The bad news is that small mistakes compound over time. The good news is that small improvements do exactly the same thing. Think about someone who decides to save just a little more every month. Nothing dramatic. Nothing that changes their life overnight. They don't suddenly become wealthy. They simply make one slightly better decision than they made yesterday, then repeat it next month, and the month after that. At first, the progress is almost invisible. But years later, what once looked insignificant becomes the foundation of real financial freedom. The problem is that our brains aren't wired to notice slow change. We notice instant rewards. That's why spending money feels good immediately, while investing it often feels boring. Buying something new gives us a story to tell tonight. Building wealth usually gives us nothing to talk about until 10 or 20 years later. One satisfies the present version of ourselves. The other quietly protects the future version we'll eventually become. Modern life makes that choice even harder. Every company is competing for one thing: your attention. The longer they can keep it, the more likely they are to earn your money. Open your phone for 5 minutes and you'll see advertisements for things you never planned to buy. A better credit card, a limited time sale, a vacation package that somehow ends tonight, a luxury watch you didn't know existed until 30 seconds ago. Every message is carefully designed to make spending feel like progress. The uncomfortable truth is that companies spend billions of dollars every year studying human behavior. They know what catches your eye. They know which words make you hesitate less. They know that people are far more likely to buy a product when it's presented as a monthly payment instead of a total price. They're not just selling products anymore. They're selling emotions, comfort, success, convenience, and the feeling that your life will somehow be better the moment you click buy now. Most people assume they're making independent financial decisions. In reality, many of those decisions were carefully influenced long before they ever reached the checkout page. And once you begin to notice that pattern, you start seeing it everywhere. The expensive coffee isn't really about coffee. The luxury SUV isn't really about transportation. The newest smartphone isn't really about making phone calls. They're all selling the same thing, a slightly better version of who you believe you could become. That's why building wealth isn't just about understanding money. It's about understanding yourself. It's about recognizing the moments when emotions quietly take control of financial decisions without asking for permission. Because once emotion takes over, logic usually leaves the room. And that's exactly where the first trap begins. Not with a bad investment or a financial crisis, but with a feeling so ordinary that almost everyone experiences it without ever realizing they're walking straight into it. I'm finally making enough money. The problem is that feeling has almost nothing to do with a specific salary. Ask someone making $50,000 a year what finally making enough looks like, and they'll probably point to 75. Ask someone earning 100,000, and they'll tell you it's closer to 150. Move the number even higher, and the answer changes again. The target keeps moving because it was never really about the money. It was about the belief that one more raise would somehow remove the stress that had been following us for years. A few years ago, a behavioral economist asked people from different income groups a simple question: how much more money would make you feel financially comfortable? The answers were surprisingly consistent. Most people didn't ask for double. They didn't ask to become millionaires overnight. They simply wanted a little more than they already had, just enough to feel safe. Yet when they eventually reached that number, comfort remained just as elusive as before. The finish line quietly moved another few steps away. That's because financial peace isn't created by income alone. It's created by the gap between what you earn and what your lifestyle quietly demands from you. The wider that gap becomes, the more freedom you have. The smaller it becomes, the more trapped you feel, even if your salary looks impressive to everyone else. Think about someone who receives a $10,000 raise. Most people assume that extra money will automatically improve their financial life. But before the first paycheck even arrives, the mind has already started spending it. The apartment they've been scrolling through online suddenly feels realistic. The vacation they postponed last year doesn't seem so out of reach anymore. Maybe it's finally time to replace the car. After all, they can afford it now, right? None of those thoughts feel irresponsible. In fact, they feel earned. That's what makes this trap so difficult to recognize. Nobody believes they're making a bad decision while they're making it. They're simply rewarding themselves for years of hard work. And there's nothing wrong with celebrating success. The problem begins when every increase in income is immediately matched by an increase in lifestyle. By the time the larger paycheck becomes routine, the excitement has disappeared, but the new monthly payments haven't. They're still there every single month, quietly waiting. The upgraded apartment no longer feels luxurious. It simply feels normal. The expensive SUV doesn't feel special anymore. It's just the car sitting in the driveway. Human beings have an incredible ability to adapt to almost anything, including the things we once believed would make us permanently happier. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. In simple terms, it means we quickly become accustomed to improvements in our lives, no matter how exciting they felt at first. The vacation becomes a memory. The new furniture becomes old furniture. The latest phone becomes last year's model. What once felt extraordinary slowly fades into the background, leaving us searching for the next upgrade that promises the same excitement. Companies understand this better than most people realize. They know the emotional high of buying something new fades surprisingly fast. That's why they're already preparing the next version before you've even finished paying for the last one. A new phone every year. A redesigned SUV every 3. Limited edition products that create urgency where none actually exists. The goal isn't simply to sell you something once. It's to keep you chasing the feeling that came with buying it. That's why advertising rarely focuses on the product itself anymore. Car commercials don't spend much time talking about engines. They show winding coastal highways, confident professionals, and families laughing on weekend road trips. Smartphone ads don't begin with processors and battery life. They show creators building businesses, friends capturing unforgettable moments, and couples sharing perfect sunsets. They're not selling horsepower or cameras. They're selling an identity. Without realizing it, many of us begin measuring progress through possessions instead of possibilities. A nicer watch feels like success. A bigger home feels like success. A luxury vacation feels like success, but real financial progress is often invisible. It looks like an investment account growing quietly in the background. It looks like having 6 months of expenses saved for emergencies. It looks like being able to walk away from a job that's making you miserable because your finances no longer depend on every single paycheck. The irony is almost painful. The things that make us look wealthy often delay actual wealth, while the habits that quietly create wealth are so ordinary that almost nobody notices them. No one congratulates you for automatically investing part of your paycheck. Your neighbors won't admire the emergency fund sitting in your savings account. Nobody compliments your decision to keep driving a reliable car for a few extra years. Yet those invisible choices are often the very reason some people wake up one day with options that others never have. And maybe that's the biggest misunderstanding about money. Most people think wealth is about buying freedom someday in the future. In reality, wealth is freedom. It's the freedom to say no, the freedom to take time off when your family needs you, the freedom to survive a layoff without panic, the freedom to make decisions based on what matters instead of what your next paycheck demands. Once you begin looking at money through that lens, something interesting happens. The question is no longer, can I afford this? The better question becomes, what is this purchase quietly taking away from my future? And that single shift in perspective has the power to change almost every financial decision you'll ever make. Unfortunately, there's one industry that has spent decades making sure you never ask that question. Instead, they encourage you to focus on something much smaller, something that sounds harmless, even responsible. It's a question you've probably heard dozens of times before, whether you were shopping for a car, a phone, furniture, or even a vacation. What monthly payment are you comfortable with? At first, it sounds like a perfectly reasonable question. In fact, most people appreciate being asked. It feels like the salesperson is trying to work within your budget instead of pushing you towards something you can't afford. But the moment the conversation shifts from the total price to the monthly payment, something subtle happens inside your brain. Without realizing it, you've stopped evaluating what something actually costs and started evaluating how comfortably it fits into your next paycheck. That's why a $70,000 SUV doesn't sound like $70,000 anymore. It sounds like $800 a month. A $2,000 phone suddenly becomes $55 a month. A vacation that would normally make you pause somehow feels affordable when it's presented as less than $5 a day. The number hasn't changed, only the way it was presented has. Yet that small change is often enough to convince otherwise careful people to spend far more than they originally planned. The truth is, businesses have understood this psychological trick for decades. They know that very few people enjoy thinking about large numbers. A monthly payment feels smaller, safer, and easier to justify because our brains naturally focus on today's problem rather than tomorrow's consequences. We don't immediately picture the interest, the years of payments, or the opportunities we're giving up along the way. We picture ourselves driving home in a new car or opening the box of a brand new phone, and that's where the real cost begins. Not on the day you make the purchase, but on every payday that follows. Every payment quietly claims a piece of your future income before you've even earned it. Month after month, your paycheck arrives already spoken for. A little goes to the car, a little goes to the phone. Another piece disappears into furniture financing, streaming subscriptions, insurance premiums, and credit card minimums. None of them seem overwhelming on their own. Together, they create a financial life where every dollar already has a destination before you even have a chance to decide where it should go. There's a reason financial stress isn't limited to people with low incomes. Plenty of high earners feel trapped because they've accidentally committed tomorrow's paycheck to yesterday's decisions. They don't lack income, they lack flexibility. Every financial obligation quietly reduces their ability to make choices. Leaving a job becomes harder. Taking time off becomes risky. Starting a business feels impossible because too many monthly payments are standing in the way. A friend of mine once described it perfectly. He said, debt doesn't always feel like carrying heavy chains. Sometimes it feels like wearing invisible strings. You can still move, you can still smile, you can still convince everyone around you that everything is fine. But every major decision in your life is being pulled in a direction you didn't choose. That image stayed with me because it's exactly how financial obligations work. They rarely stop you all at once. They slowly reduce the number of options available to you until one day you realize your freedom disappeared years ago. What's interesting is that truly wealthy people often think about purchases completely differently. They don't begin with the monthly payment. They begin with the opportunity cost. Before spending $10,000, they ask themselves a different question. If this money stayed invested instead, what could it become 10 or 20 years from now? That's a question most advertisements hope you'll never ask because it changes the entire conversation. Imagine two people standing inside the same dealership on the same Saturday afternoon. Both can technically afford the car they're looking at. The first person asks, can I make the monthly payment? The second asks, what is this purchase going to cost me beyond the sticker price? Those questions sound similar, but they lead to completely different lives. One is focused on affordability. The other is focused on long-term freedom. That's the difference between spending with your paycheck and spending with your future in mind. One decision solves today's desire. The other protects tomorrow's possibilities. And over 20 or 30 years, those tiny differences quietly become enormous. But if monthly payments make spending easier, credit cards make spending almost effortless. Think about the last time you tapped your phone or swiped a card at checkout. The transaction lasted less than 2 seconds. No cash leaving your wallet. No visible reminder that money was gone. Just a quick beep, a receipt, and life moved on. It felt almost weightless. That's not an accident. the less pain you feel while spending, the more likely you are to spend again. Researchers have been studying this for years, and they keep finding the same pattern. People tend to spend more when the act of paying feels less tangible. That's one of the reasons digital payments became so powerful. Convenience is wonderful, but convenience also makes self-control much harder. When buying something requires almost no effort, saying yes becomes the default. Credit cards amplify that effect even further. They quietly separate the pleasure of buying from the discomfort of paying. You enjoy the dinner tonight, the concert this weekend, the shopping trip this afternoon, but the bill doesn't arrive until weeks later. By then, the emotional excitement has already faded, making it easier to convince yourself that carrying a balance just this once isn't a big deal. Unfortunately, that's exactly how thousands of dollars in debt usually begin, not with one reckless decision, but with a series of completely ordinary purchases that never felt expensive in the moment. Most people don't wake up one morning planning to carry $10,000 or $20,000 in credit card debt. It starts with a weekend getaway that seemed well-deserved. Then it's replacing a broken appliance a little earlier than necessary. A birthday gift that was slightly more expensive than planned. Dinner with friends. Holiday shopping. None of those purchases feel life-changing by themselves. In isolation, they're almost impossible to notice. But money has a way of remembering every decision even when we don't. What's even more surprising is how quickly those small balances begin working against you. The moment you carry debt from one month into the next, you're no longer paying only for the things you bought. You're paying for the time you waited to pay for them. Interest quietly joins every purchase, and before long, you're spending tomorrow's income on yesterday's lifestyle. It's one of the few situations where doing absolutely nothing still makes the problem larger. That's why so many people feel like they're running on a treadmill. They work hard, they receive a raise. They pick up extra shifts, some even start a side hustle. Yet the progress never feels permanent because a portion of every paycheck is already committed to decisions they made months or even years earlier. They aren't moving backward because they lack ambition. They're moving backward because interest is moving faster than they are.